Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. And today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Andrea Moore. And she graduated from Roberts. We'll talk about that a little bit. But I invited Andrea because we work together at Northgate Free Methodist Church in Batavia. And her story is very cool and relatable. Cool and relatable. Those are two things that you need to be, you need to have on your side for people to listen to you. Cool and relatable.
Awesome.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So we're going to dive in. Andrea, maybe tell us a little bit about your Roberts experience.
Yeah. So I always knew that I wanted to come here. I grew up in Greece, New York, which is like 20 minutes from here.
Uh-huh.
Always knew that I wanted to go to a Christian school, and I just knew that it had to be Roberts. Like there was just no other option.
Really? You knew that right away?
Yeah, I just knew that this was going to be the fit. This is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I didn't want to go far from home.
Okay.
Just was always kind of attached to my house and my parents and all that. So I knew this was going to be it, and it was I knew it was going to be a little challenging maybe to get here for different reasons, but it worked out, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and here I was.
Here you were. And then so you met your husband here, right?
So actually, Larry did go here, but he was 3 years ahead of me.
Okay.
Yep. So I actually never met him here, and we always joke that it's probably better.
Oh, okay. All right. So all right. So you met after.
Yeah, we actually met at the church that we were going to.
Gotcha.
We met through doing music together. So, but then a lot of the friends that he had, I just knew through church, and some of them were still in school. So we had a lot of mutual friends.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then what did you graduate Roberts with?
So that was another thing that for me, I'm just so fortunate because I never really struggled with what should I do? I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. Right. And so I always knew that I wanted to help people and that I wanted to work with people. Wasn't sure exactly what that would look like in terms of a job, but it gave me a lot of direction as to what I was going to do here.
Yeah.
So I majored in social work, which I loved. It was the perfect fit for me. And I minored in music.
Okay.
I love people and I love music. And it was great. I loved my classes, kind of just sailed through. I actually ended up living at home my first 2 years, and then I ended up living on campus for the second two.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you graduate with you graduate from social work and music, and then what was next?
So I just kind of felt like I was the clock was ticking. And there was a timeline that I kind of had to follow. So I graduated from here, and I was really, really involved in the church that I was going to at the time. I was involved with youth worship.
Okay.
So I didn't want to give that up. And I just knew when I was done with here, I wanted to get married.
Yep.
Because Larry was my boyfriend at the time, and it was super serious, and I knew that's where we were going. And I wanted to start working. I just wanted to get to it. I wanted to go for it, and I wanted to keep my foot in ministry too, just to kind of see where that went. So funny story about work. So about a month after I graduated from here, I had so much on my plate. So my senior year, that last semester from January to May, I had a field placement internship. I had a job because I had to work every weekend to afford my car.
Yeah.
And my phone. I was dating my boyfriend who I wanted to spend all kinds of time with. I was volunteering at church. I had my regular course load. I was also an RA, so I had all the stuff going on.
Oh my goodness.
And it was crazy, and I was going crazy, but I was loving it too. And I was all right, I can sustain this for a couple months. This will be fine. So I did, graduated in May, and then all of a sudden I had all this extra free time, and I'm this is awesome.
The classes fall off. Yeah.
Yep. Classes, a lot of responsibilities, and I moved back home. And I interviewed for my first job within a month of graduating here, and I got the job, and I was so excited. It was exactly what I wanted. It was a social work job in a hospital. That was where I saw myself. So I was super excited about that. So they told me, they're okay, you've got the job, but it's going to be 2 weeks until orientation. Just chill out for 2 weeks. So like I was like, cool. So I went home and I was just like, this is amazing. I have nothing to do. I'm just like relaxing. And I lost track of time and days. And I didn't show up on the first day.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Which like me, like
Yeah,
that's
that would not. Right. That would be
that's
not like you.
me.
Right.
No. So I didn't show up, and it's cool because I called, so I was like panicking, I'm freaking out. I'm like, this was like
That's hilarious.
this
Yeah.
was my big girl job. Like
Yeah.
I quit the coffee shop I was working at. I was like, oh man, I blew it. So I'm like, I'm probably fired before I even started. So I called the manager and I was like, I got nothing. I don't have an excuse. Like my grandma didn't die.
Right. I just forgot.
I literally just forgot.
Oh my goodness. How did she respond?
So they were like, well, we're going to give you another chance because why didn't you mention that you knew the VP of finance here?
Oh,
And I was like, I didn't
was I supposed to?
know that was important.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, they know you and they can vouch for you. They said you were a good kid, so we're going to give you another shot.
Oh my goodness.
It always reminds me of that verse, though. I love the verse in Proverbs chapter 3 about like, if you in all of your ways acknowledge God and he'll straighten things out, right? He'll put you on the right path.
Right.
So it was a pretty stupid thing that happened, but
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
yeah, and they gave me a chance and I ended up staying for like 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's good. We can pick up there then. So you got this job
Yep.
and everything's going, well. I mean, obviously you stay for 17 years.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. And then from my perspective, we were at the church. We were having a conversation one day, me and the lead pastor, and we were just talking about like this new position that we were, that he was thinking about, and you had started leading worship at the church in the meantime, and I don't know, it was like, oh, well, what about Andrea, right? So. Both of us were sort of feeling like, well, I don't know, like she's pretty set in her thing, it seemed anyways. So he's like, well, that's an interesting idea. And then, so walk us through that process. You get that phone call.
Yep.
It is kind of a similar thing, but it's a switch.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, in the God's honest truth, like when I got that phone call, I wasn't surprised because I was almost expecting it, and not because I had any other reason to expect it other than for a while, even when I was in that job. Because I had told you, I mean, I loved that job and I loved what I did.
But it's a job. Every job has, even the best job in the world is going to have days or months or years,
But it was more than that. I was feeling restless for a really long time, and it was frustrating because I didn't know why I felt restless because I had a great job that initially I wasn't very good at, but then I got really good at it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff I'm bad at, but this I was good at.
Yeah.
And I felt good about what I was doing and the work I was doing and the people that I was ministering to in that capacity. But I just felt restless and I felt like I was sitting on fire, like a flame. I don't know how else to describe it. And I was like, why am I so restless? Why am I so discontent? Like, what is going on with me? And I think because in the back of my mind for a long time, I knew that a shift was coming and that I was going to be called into ministry. And I didn't know how or what that looked like. And I think that's what was causing that restlessness.
Anxiety or yeah.
Yeah. And so when I got that call that day, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, the Lord opening that door.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so maybe we have some social workers here that are watching this, or anyone in it that's, kind of knows what they want to do, is heading in a direction. Explain maybe how this shift felt, because it may not have been something that back in when you graduated you would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I graduated from here, I was still the same person, right? Still the same person, but I was really hindered by a couple things. I was really stuck with anxiety and just kind of always struggled with confidence. And I still deal with that. I still struggle with some confidence stuff, but I was pretty shy, which is fine, right? But I was reserved. I didn't really know how to speak up for myself. Just felt like really inhibited and didn't actually realize the gifts that I had. Like I knew I could talk to people. I knew I was good with people and I knew I wanted to help people. But I didn't know what that looked like, and there were some other kind of gifts that God revealed to me in time that I didn't know I had, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things was with ministry was, leading worship, and even now it's incredible because I am stepping into some other gifts that I didn't know that I had even
Right.
within the last year, which is pretty cool. And God's timing is He like revealed that. But when I left here, I was a pretty shy, inhibited person, and just kind of through, just the small moments. Like I can't really say there was any big moment that God was like, oh, here's what we're gonna do to shift things, right? It just happened through like time and experience with people and
Right.
interactions with people and circumstances, even personally, family members and getting married and having kids, all those things,
Right.
kind of developed in me the confidence and sort of the boldness that I would need so that when the time came for the next kind of door to open, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can confidently walk through this door and know that I'm equipped.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I felt like, from knowing you for a little while now, like I always felt like you had a ministry mind, you were ministry minded. And so it wasn't like the shift from maybe the corporate world where you're in like, counseling settings there, shifting into the church world, the ministry world. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it's funny because I thought a lot of it would sort of translate, and it does in some ways, but it definitely was different, right? When you're working in that type of setting,
right?
In a hospital setting, there's all kinds of, legal stuff and different things that you have to pay attention to and adhere to. And then we get into the ministry setting and this in a different context, people are still people. So
right. That
doesn't change, right? Like people have problems. It doesn't matter where you sit with them, in a hospital room or in a church, but it definitely was an adjustment. Really, this is probably going to sound kind of like silly, but just the biggest thing for me was I could actually talk about my faith. I could talk about Jesus.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So in the hospital, it was very much like, you can't bring that up. Like we don't talk about God here. That's not what we do. And you can't share your faith and you can't talk about salvation and all of that. And so coming into the church, it was just the most freeing feeling.
Right.
I even actually remember saying in my interview, like, I can talk about God.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Right, which is obviously what you do in a church, but for someone like me who'd been in a different context for so long, it was just such a freeing thing to be able to do that with people. And
yeah, that's cool.
But different and
oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure too, like the while the problems are the same, people are coming in under different like pretenses too. Like in most cases, they're wanting spiritual guidance, probably along with, hey, I'm anxious, or I got this marital problem or whatever.
It's that intersection between mental health
right
and spirituality.
Right.
And that's something that sometimes I wonder why it took so long because I kind of always knew that I would be in ministry, again, just didn't know how or when or where. But sometimes I'm like, why did it take so long? And I think it's because I had to sort of work through some of those things myself with my own mental, emotional health, right? And anxiety and stuff like that. And kind of how leaning into faith that's mine, not my parents and not my friends, not Larry's, right? That's mine. And that I could then
Larry the husband.
Yep. And then I can bring that into the work that I do with people at the church.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like a similarity where I fought going into ministry from the very beginning. I kind of like felt like that playing, I always wanted to do something with music. Yep. That was my thing. And having grown up with a pastor's kid and being in the church, like when anytime the doors were open, right?
There.
Right. So I fought it like tooth and nail all the way. I mean, I just felt like it was not, it wasn't exciting, and so, but early on in life, I'd gotten married and I felt like that was the door that was clearly opening for me. And whether I wouldn't say that I like hated it. Yeah. I wouldn't say that I was like upset. I just was like, I just want to exhaust every other possibility,
Yep.
right? So it's like I'm trying to do music in other ways. I'm trying to whatever, and I'm trying to almost force things. And I say all this to say this is that like I think there does in life, you know, you don't know where God is going to lead you, and if you're not available, you know, like, you know, it can take some time to obviously for the Lord to like drill in there and be like, this is what I want you to do. But I would say like I jumped right in. It took you a little bit longer, 17 years longer, right? And I don't think that, you know, again, like we need social workers in the hospital too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the thing that's cool about your story is how the Lord has taken all of that. You would not have been the same counselor
Nope.
in ministry had you not had
Absolutely.
the corporate
Yeah.
experience, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes sometimes I would feel bad because we all compare, you know? So I'd be like, well, why did it take so long? Because, you know, there are some people that come right out of school and they go right into something like what I'm doing, right? Yeah. Or the opposite. And why is that? Why did it take so long for God to develop what he had to do? Why now?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But I don't know that so much matters. Is just like be faithful, be obedient, right? And be available.
Right.
And God's going to do it when he's going to do it. Like, why did he pull you in? Right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, you look back, I knew nothing, you know, and now looking back, I think, okay, you know, I always prayed, Lord, I want a job in music.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't specify enough, like exactly what, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's just, it's crazy how much time there is in one person's life. When you know, we always say about how like time just goes by so fast, and the older you get, I agree with that. But on the experience side of things, it's like, I couldn't do this the way I'm doing it now had I not I had to go through all of those experiences first. And it prepared me for where I am today. And, yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I always think of it too as like somebody else's, or like your finish line might be somebody else's starting line. Right.
Yeah.
So like, and we don't know why that is, but everyone's got their own path.
Right.
You don't want to take somebody else's. You don't want to rush things. You also don't want to be, you know, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Right.
Yeah.
So I actually love how God did that in my life. I don't regret anything. I love the work that I did.
Sure.
Right? And I know it was for a reason. And it's cool too that when he ends a chapter, he ends a season, he closes a door, there's no like regret in its wake. It's just like, okay, this is right. This is good, and I can step through this next door with no regrets, you know?
Yeah. But it does take, I think the thing that is consistent through no matter what you're doing. I mean, because there's going to be some people that are going to graduate, they're going to have a degree, or they're going to start working at a coffee shop.
Yep.
Because that's the only thing that's available, right? And I would say, you know, the thing that I've had to cultivate, the two things I've had to cultivate the most in my life, even knowing very clearly what I wanted to do with my life, was trust and patience, you know, like trusting that God knew what he was doing, you know, because there were seasons where I was working construction and I was, you know, nothing to do with music. And I was absolutely miserable, driving home every day going, God, what are, you know, the only reason why I took some of those jobs was so that I could do more things with music. They were just flexible. So, but miserable, you know, every day, all day. And I did not handle those seasons of my life with, I would say, spiritual amazingness, you know, it was just terrible. Yeah. I was not, I was angry. I was upset. I was discouraged, very discouraged, frustrated.
Looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah.
How come
here I am, like, you know, going to my construction job. And now I look back on that, all of those things prepared me for where I am today.
Yeah.
And and I guess I can drywall a bathroom if I needed to.
So there's that.
So it's like, there's those moments where you're, the Lord does, I'll never go hungry that way, So,
so much happens in the waiting, in those waiting periods. Like they're brutal. They don't feel good.
No.
But there's a lot of good stuff that happens.
No. And I think the only thing that got me through was community.
Yeah.
My buddies, my wife, in the moments when I was just like throwing my hands up going, I don't know, was like my church, just that, like that exercise every week of just being around people that were encouraging and understood a little bit of what I was going through. I was never very like, hey everybody, here's what here's what I'm dealing with. But like it was always, I was carrying it, and people people that were close to me could recognize that and come alongside me. And okay, well, is there anything else that you would like to share to like kind of summarize this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really just knowing that, because I mentioned how I found the job that I really, really wanted right away, right? And almost, didn't get it for not showing up, but it's fine. And sometimes you wait, right? So sometimes you graduate and you find yourself, kind of stuck a little bit.
Right.
Maybe you're working your coffee shop job, or you're, just kind of floundering, not really sure where you're going to go. I think really just the biggest thing is that God develops us and shapes us, and there's waiting periods, right? Sometimes it happens through struggles that we're going through.
Right.
For me, I know there was mental health, there was, even just kind of just like fears, right? Because you leave and you're like,
yeah,
like you've been in this safe place for so long, and then all of a sudden you've got to start adulting, you've got to start making real decisions. And so I think just being just faithful in the small things, literally showing up, show up, right? To whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. If it's going to church, if it's working your part-time job, if whatever it is, if it's going to, a ministry volunteer position, whatever you've got going on, and be faithful with it and wait for God's timing and allow him to cultivate the things that he knows that you need to bring you through the open doors, because they're going to open,
and they will. And when they do, you will have earned it. Like you'll have gone through, as whatever you needed to go through to get there, I guess. So, yeah. Cool. Well, thank you. I never know how to end these, so I just say thanks.
Absolutely. It was good.